And turning to our top story here at home, residents of Jasper, Alberta will have to wait a bit longer to find out when they can return home. Officials say they're planning a staged re-entry, but no timeline has been set. The CBC's Paige Parsons is in Hinton, Alberta, with the latest.
Officials have released criteria for what it will take to be able to re-enter Jasper. That includes factors like ensuring that wildfires are no longer a threat to the town site and that emergency and critical services are in place before any residents go back. But there's no timeline yet for when the re-entry will happen, and that's left some residents feeling anxious and just really hoping for more information soon.
We're not have a timeline. We don't know when we're going back. We don't know, do we stick around here, and how do you make plans and to what your life is going to look like, and you're just kind of just sitting around waiting.
As they remain displaced for the foreseeable future, many different community organizations and individuals have been stepping up to help support evacuees. We caught up with an Edmonton organizer who normally provides care kits for vulnerable population, but she answered the call to pack up those kits, fill a trailer, and head here to Hinton to help evacuees.
Donations just from the community of Spruce Grove, Stony Plain, Edmonton. They've come together and put it all together, and we got it loaded, and there's still donations being dropped off, so I'll be filling trailers still some more and bringing these back out.
She says those donations will be distributed by Hinton Family and Community Support Services. Meanwhile, officials are also working on a plan to bring residents back into Jasper on bus tours so they can see the community. And they're also working on a plan to try to reopen Highway 16, which is the main arterial that runs through Jasper National Park.
Highway 16 is in good shape. All the bridges are in good shape, as I just mentioned. And we're just working on some form of a security plan so that we can open up Highway 16 and ensure that we don't get people going into properties or into the town with there being no one present and no police presence or security of any kind. So that's one of our priorities right now.
All of these plans are, of course, contingent on it being safe enough to go back inside the park. So with rising temperatures expected this week, weather and the fire conditions it can bring with it are top of mind for fire crews, for officials, and for the people who are trying to get back home. Paige Parsons, CBC News, Hinton, Alberta.
We're also keeping an eye on other wildfires burning in Western Canada. And the CBC's Sarah Galashan joins us now from Coquitlam, BC. So Sarah, let's start there. Just last hour, there was an update and some good news.
Yeah, some good news, Andrew, as I've been saying, and as you've been seeing over the past few hours, we've got rain and cooler temperatures. Certainly in the lower mainland, but really we have seen this kind of weather in varying degrees in most parts of the province over the last couple of days. And that has brought the number of active wildfires in British Columbia down to 349. And in just the last hour, we have learned that the fire centers in Prince George and in the Northwest have made the decision that they're going to be rescinding the campfire bans in place in those areas as of noon on Thursday. They can always be brought back into play, but they are feeling pretty good about things right now. It'll only apply to those two fire centers, but campfires allowed as of noon on Thursday in those two fire centers. And to the point that they're feeling pretty good about things, we are seeing in other parts of the province related to the Antler Creek wildfire and the Shetland Creek wildfire, evacuation orders, evacuation alerts, dropping down, being loosened or lightened, or a relief to the residents that there's definitely a lesser threat because of those wildfires. And that's in part due to the weather, also in part due to the reprieve that has allowed the firefighters to create barriers, protect communities in a way that the heat and the dry doesn't allow for necessarily when the wildfires are really picking up. That said, there are still more than 1,000 people who are out of their homes right now, primarily in the southeast and the central Kootenay region, and the BC Minister of Emergency Management. She spoke to those evacuees. Take a listen.
As of this morning, there are approximately 1,350 people under an evacuation order, primarily in the central Kootenay region. Additionally, there are 2,800 people under an evacuation alert. The province, communities, wildfire crews, and emergency responders are continuing to do everything that they can do to keep people and communities safe.
As she said, this is primarily affecting the central Kootenays. We have a map to show you. They are dealing with a number of wildfires, describing it as a complex of wildfires because there are so many burning in sort of close proximity within a certain firefighting area. And that firefight, by the way, is being led by a team from Australia on loan to Canada. And they have been situated in that area for about the last couple of weeks, and they have been trying to beat these fires back. But of threat, the villages that are under threat here, villages like Silverton, Slocan, both have been evacuated. New Denver on an evacuation alert, potentially having to go. So while that is happening, we also heard at the press conference sympathies expressed for and of the help that BC provided and is still providing to Jasper in light of the situation there and the devastation that they have experienced. In addition to so many communities in BC opening their home to evacuees, there were fire crews that were sent from Valemont, McBride, Beaverley, and Quesnel as well, among others, to help with the effort on the ground. And as I say, sympathies expressed for what has happened in Jasper. It is unfortunately a nightmare that BC is very familiar with, and the help, they say, will continue to flow. Andrew?
Thank you. That's Sarah Galashan in Coquitlam, BC.